To Medi Simplified. So today, in the second video, that is repeated topic for FMG by FMG, uh, 10 days, 10 important topics at 10 p.m. on YouTube. So by Medi Simplified, that's me. For the people who are new here, my name is Dr. Shubham Mishra. I passed my foreign medical graduate exam in the month of December in the year 2019, which was my first attempt. And currently, I'm a new PG aspirant. And today, which the repeated topic I'm going to one of the topic which I'm going to discuss here with you guys is head trauma. Is head trauma. So head trauma, there are a few things which are repeatedly asked in MCI exam, that is foreign medical graduate exam. So let's discuss them today. The first thing which we are going to talk about is the skull base fracture. So skull base are basically divided into anterior cranial fossa, middle cranial fossa, and posterior cranial fossa. So if there is a fracture of anterior cranial fossa, it will most commonly fracture the cribriform plate. Most commonly fractures the cribriform plate. And from cribriform plate, I hope there is one disease in ENT which everyone knows very well, that is CSF rhinorrhea. CSF rhinorrhea can occur, right? So there will be a history of patient who fall from any scooty, Activa, or some motorcycle, right? And he comes to you in your OPD after 2-3 days and with a clear fluid falling from the nose, right? That is not the normal runny nose which we get in cold and flu. It is clear fluid, right? Clear fluid from the nose. And if you take it on a blotting paper on a paper, or you can see the halo sign over on in that fluid. And everything to know about CSF rhinorrhea, you can get a video over here on my channel. Watch it. I hope it helps if you want to know more about CSF rhinorrhea. But important thing which you should remember, that if there is an anterior cranial fossa fracture, the most common organ to be fractured, the most common bone or the most common part of a bone which will be fractured is a fracture of cribriform plate. Fracture of cribriform plate will lead to CSF rhinorrhea. Now, second thing, that is, if there is a fracture of middle cranial fossa, what will happen? If there is a fracture of middle cranial fossa, the most common bone which will get fractured is the petrous part of temporal bone. Is the petrous part of temporal bone which will get fractured. Okay, and what will you see in this? You'll see the battle sign. You will see the battle sign. Now, what is battle sign? This is a homework. I want you guys to look for the image of battle sign from wherever you can, and you can get it in the FMT notes also. So watch it and just get to know thoroughly about the battle sign. Okay. If the middle cranial fossa is fractured, the most common bone will be fractured is the petrous part of temporal bone. And if there is a posterior cranial fossa fracture, what we can see, we will see commonly the sixth cranial nerve injury. Also, there is a group of syndrome in which the 9th, 10th, and 11th cranial nerve gets injured. 9th, 10th, and 11th cranial nerve gets injured when there is a posterior cranial fossa fracture, and that disease is known as Werner's syndrome. Okay, Werner's syndrome, also known as jugular foramen syndrome. Jugular foramen syndrome. So, once again, in short, I want to convey everything. If there is a skull base fracture, the skull base can have anterior cranial fossa fracture, middle cranial fossa fracture, and the posterior cranial fossa fracture. Anterior cranial fossa fracture, most commonly cribriform plate will get damaged. If cribriform plate gets damaged, we know there is a thing called a CSF rhinorrhea, which we learn in ENT, that can be seen. If there is a middle cranial fossa fracture, the petrous part of the temporal bone gets fractured, in which we can see battle sign. What is battle sign is a homework for you guys. If there is a fracture of posterior cranial fossa, sixth cranial nerve injury can occur. Also, there can be injury of 9th, 10th, and 11th cranial nerve together, which is called as Werner syndrome. and it is also known as commonly jugular foramen syndrome. This can be asked. This name cannot be asked, but you can ask, they can ask you with this name. What is jugular foramen syndrome? It is injury to the 9th, 10th, and 11th cranial nerve due to posterior cranial fossa fracture. Now going further, intracranial hemorrhage. So there are 4 intracranial hemorrhage which we learn. One is contusion, second is SAH, extradural hemorrhage, subdural hematoma. So these 2 are not so important. There are not many questions been asked. Remember, investigation of choice, if it is asked for brain injury or head injury due to RT or anything, if investigation of choice is asked, the answer should be NCCT head. NCCT head, right? Investigation of choice for head trauma or head injury will be NCCT head, right? So 2 important things which we'll learn now is extradural hemorrhage and subdural hematoma. Let's have a distinguish between them so as to clearly know what is the exact difference and what can be the clinical finding given in the question, which from which we can get to the answer, that is extradural hemorrhage or subdural hematoma. So if you see extradural hemorrhage, it is commonly occurring in the young guys, young people. Not only guys, it can occur in any young person. And subdural hematoma usually occurs in elderly, right? Usually occurs in elderly. And the artery or the site of injury due to which the extradural hemorrhage occurs is MMA. That is middle meningeal artery. Middle meningeal artery. Whereas the subdural hematoma, it occurs due to cortical bridging veins. Cortical bridging veins. Okay, now one more important thing. Now if you do the NCCT head, right, this both will occur due to head trauma, right? So in NCCT head, you will see a biconvex lesion. Suppose this is the head, right? So you will see a biconvex lesion, something like this, right? Whereas in subdural hematoma, you will see a convexo-concave, sorry, concavo-convex kind of lesion. I'm really sorry for my diagram, but I'll repeat it again. Suppose this is the head. You'll see a crescentric, also you can say half moon, right? A crescentric. You'll see a crescentic or concavo-convex. Concavo-convex lesion. Now, whenever I roam in Gautam Nagar, I have heard many people discussing how to remember it by different things. So one very important, one very nice thing which I got to learn from people while they are talking at tea stalls, that this extradural hemorrhage, remember it like a lemon or a idli, right? So, but in exam they can just not give an image, but they will tell you that biconvex. So biconvex like this, right? So by the shape of idli, I listen in it by someone, and the subdural hematoma, it reminded, I heard that the guy was saying it is like a banana, right? तो बस याद करने के लिए है कि एक्स्ट्राड्यूरल हेमरेज लेमन या इडली के शेप का होगा और सबड्यूरल हेमाटोमा बनाना शेप का होगा, राइट? और वन मोर इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, द ब्लीडिंग की क्वेश्चन आएगा, ब्लीडिंग अकर्स एट, सो इट इज बिटवीन द स्कल एंड द ड्यूरा, skull and dura, whereas in subdural hematoma the bleeding will be in between the dura and arachnoid, dura and arachnoid. So these are the few important distinguishing points between extradural hematoma, extradural hemorrhage and subdural hematoma, right? So extradural hemorrhage seen in young people, biconvex shape, lemon shape or idli shape, right? causing injured artery is middle meningeal artery, and bleeding is between skull and dura. Subdural hematoma is usually seen in elderly. Cortical or bridging vein is damaged. Crescentic or concave or convex shape of lesion is seen. Banana shape का होता है, okay, and the bleeding is between dura and arachnoid. Now going further, once again, just for this is extradural hematoma, hemorrhage, and this is subdural hematoma, right? So this is something like a idli, and this is something like a banana. Okay, and this is once again seen in young people, middle meningeal artery, right? And the bleeding is between dura and skull, and seen in young people, I told. And subdural hematoma seen in elderly. Cortical bridging veins, okay. And what else? Where bleeding is between dura and arachnoid. If the shape is asked, this is convex, but both sides, so biconvex. And this is crescentic or concavo-convex, right? So these are the two important things. One image every time is given in the FMG exam, so it is very important that you should able to distinguish between them. Now going further, once again, see here lemon shape and here banana shape, right? On road, what I heard was idli. So if you can remember it anyway, just remember idli or lemon is extradural hematoma, banana is subdural hematoma. But if in exam the shape is asked, it is biconvex, and this is concavo-convex. Right, now going further, there is a patient of road traffic accident. He has got head injury. What is the investigation of choice? I've already told investigation of choice will be NCCT head. Okay, now in NCCT, if the NCCT head is normal, right, but the patient is still unconscious, right? So what will be your next step? So the next step will be MRI. And why we are doing MRI? To diagnose the diffuse axonal injury. Now, what is diffuse axonal injury? It occurs due to shearing force between gray and white matter. Right? Remember, the DAI has the worst prognosis. Right? So usually, if you get a patient, if you are being asked simple one-liner investigation of choice for a head injury, NCCT head. If you get a history that a head injury is occurred, you have done NCCT, but the NCCT come normal, but the patient is still unconscious. What will be your next step? So the next step will be MRI. Or if they can ask what can be the cause will be diffuse axonal injury. तो ये चीजें याद रखना कि अगर एनसीसीटी हेड नॉर्मल दिया है, पूछ रहे हैं नेक्स्ट स्टेप क्या होगा, तो एनसीसीटी कर चुके तो हम एमआरआई करेंगे. एमआरआई क्यों करेंगे? डिफ्यूज एक्सोनल इंजरी को देखने के लिए. ठीक है, तो एक बार फिर से डिफ्यूज एक्सोनल इंजरी, राइट, इट इज punctate hemorrhage at gray and white matter junction, and corpus callosum. ठीक है, I'm sorry for my handwriting, but ये देखो ऐसे डॉट 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 दिखेगा अलग जगह. कॉर्पस कैलोजम में भी दिखेगा, और ये दिस इज नॉट कॉर्पस कैलोजम में भी दिखेगा, ग्रे और व्हाइट मैटर की जंक्शन पे भी दिखेगा. So this is diffuse axonal injury. Investigation of choice for diffuse axonal injury is MRI, right? And it has worse prognosis. I've already told you. So this was everything I had to discuss today. The important topic related to head injury, the base of fracture, skull base fracture, anterior clavicular fossa fracture, cerebriform plate will be damaged. You'll see CSF rhinorrhea, and EDH, SDH, important distinguishing factor I have told you. And if the NCCT head normal, so the next step will be MRI to see this diffuse axonal injury. So all the best for the exam. I hope this video was useful. If you find it useful, do comment down in the comment section. And thanks for watching this video. Share with your friends. Do like, share, and subscribe my channel, MediSimplified. Thank you.